sent me to Los Angeles and put me
in Big Blue
on the Big Blue building complex.
And I get to LA. Scott was going to go on to the RPF. And in order for him to get through it successfully, I needed to go on it as well.
Wow.
So I said, well, how do I do that? I mean, I'm not on the RPF. You know, I'll get him through it. Not a problem. I'll be his twin. She goes, well, you need to be on the RPF in order to be helping him on the RPF. I'm like, okay, sign me up. You know, my whole concern was that he was going to survive. So I agree. And she put the most less offensive things on it for me. So that was really nice.
You had heard that the RPF, Rehabilitation Project Force, was grim. So this was very brave and courageous. So you route on to the RPF.
Yeah. Yeah. So I ran onto the RPF and still no contact with him whatsoever.
The complex was actually the old Cedars of Lebanon Hospital. So it was an old hospital building that the church took over back in the 70s. And they kept me in an area underneath the section of the building called Lebanon Hall. And it was down in the bowels, the subterranean levels underneath the building, in the old medical waste incinerator room.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to see him. I'd go past there every now and again because I wanted to find out where exactly he was located. And I'd say, he's locked up in this room.
The room itself was, you know, cinder block and brick. It still had the old brick medical waste incinerator. And it had a big steel-clad door that was on rails. And you know, they had me in there and they closed the door and crashed. And,
You were locked
put
in.
a padlock.
There is at least one or two people outside of where he was at all times.
Yeah,
Would you pound on the walls and scream?
Pound on the walls, scream, let me out of here.
And I heard it through the door as well. I want to leave, I want to leave. You know, I don't want to be here anymore. And I was like, okay, fine. So I went on to the RPF's RPF. Which is the lowest of the low. You can't even talk to the RPF. You know, it's the same thing, but it's
More
worse.
and more punishment. Escalate the punishment.
Yeah, you get up
Escalate.
earlier. You
Less
take
sleep.
less sleep, less eating time, running full blast. You're doing stuff that nobody else wants to do.
I had lost about 60 pounds during this time. Whatever was being given to me, the diazepam, chloral hydrate, that continued. That prescription was continued by Megan Shields. And right on the bottle, there's a big warning that says, you know, warning, exceeding this dose in this period of time can cause severe brain damage. You know. And I'm thinking, well, these guys have been giving these things to me like it's candy. You know, they would send this woman in to do the security checks on me.
What did she look like?
She was like the Nazi, basically the, you know, Dr. Mengelé's medical assistant, you know. And she's interrogating me and, you know, being interrogated with,
Sample questions?
you know, the questions are like, are you here to destroy the Church of Scientology? Are you here to destroy David Miscavige? Are you with the CIA? You know, it's just rapid fire questions one after the other, and she's supposed to be noting whatever these questions are reading, you know. I noticed one time that she was doing something as she's asking me the question. I noticed her arm was moving a little bit, you know. getting these questions, you're connected to an e-meter, which is essentially a lie detector type device. And I could feel the electrical pulse in the cans getting stronger and weaker, which was odd. And I noticed that she was moving the range of the electrical
To fake
resistance.
reads. That's faking the read.
And I was like, what the hell are you doing? And I got very angry, and I just knocked the whole thing off the table, knocked the table over and everything, and then the door came crashing open, and they got her out of there and stuff. And
Sea Org members at the bottom of the food chain in the
Right.
thought reform camp, they take you up to the roof.
they took me up to the roof, and just took me over to the edge of the roof, and I'm looking down with them, and I get the feeling that these guys are like, go ahead, jump, we don't care, you know. And one of the guys says, it's a long way down, you know, and I was upset by that, and I said, you don't know anything about me. You don't know anything about me, do you? They took me right back up to the roof. Now, mind you, this is at like 3 o'clock in the morning, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, middle of the night. Take me up to the roof, walk me over to the edge of that building, and looking
made you
down
look
in the
down
same
at the
place.
concrete.
And the guy said the same thing. It's a long way down.
That is shocking.
You know, something just clicked in me, and I just said, yep, it's a long way down. Is that why we're up here? Is that what we're doing? What are we doing? It's a nice night, isn't it? Look at the stars. And after that, I wouldn't let them do anything more with me. Every time anybody would come to see me or try to interact with me at all, I would just say, I want to route out, I want to leave, I want to get out of here, let me out of here. Just over and over again, I would repeat that. Finally, after probably a couple of months, they let me leave, and let Carrie leave at the same time. And you know, I was still a wreck. You know, I was just skin and bones. I had lost all my muscle mass. You know, I'm 6'2", and I think I weighed like 158 pounds. You know, they let us go, and you know, it was the whole videoed. You know, signing all of the
they made you go on video to
sign the release of liabilities.
We're here in a serious matter, on a serious matter. We're here to formalize the signing of an agreement and general release between Debbie Cook and Church of Scientology FSO.
Sheafs and sheafs of documents.
Yes, this is the famous
You know,
1-inch thick sign your life
yeah,
away.
signing
They never
everything.
did anything wrong. Sign!
Yeah.
Sign how good, what good guys they are.
And yeah,
And we get to sign all these papers, and I'm like, are we supposed to read this stuff? You know, I'm like, I want out of here, I'm sorry. And his gut, he's like totally out of it. He's like a vegetable.
I was a wreck. You know, I would love to see that video, because it would be it's this guy who's like physically, mentally, and emotionally destroyed. Then we get there to Carrie's parents' house, and they're like, "Oh my God, what's happened to Scott?" You know. So they caused a problem by writing reports and sending them to the church officials. And the church says, okay, we'll fix it. We know what to do now. Bring him back. So they convinced Carrie's parents and Carrie, my wife, to bring me back
How did
to
you
the
Bye.